Over the last 14 years, we've been through so many series of models of electric skateboards, and the bar just keeps getting higher and higher. As technology evolves and the needs of riders progress, the boards also need to change. Often it's just little small adjustments or changes to the style, but every now and then we take a massive leap forward when it comes to performance. Back in 2016, the introduction of the GT series brought dual motors to Evolve skateboards, which was huge. And then in 2021, the Hadean was introduced to supersede the GTR in terms of power, speed, and range. 3 years later on, now in 2024, we felt the Hadean riders wanted more. So we built the Diablo. The goal for the Diablo was super simple: to make an electric skateboard that was going to replace the Hadean series and give the riders more of everything. We wanted to increase the speed, especially through the mid-range, the power and acceleration, and increase ride times, while not just retaining the ultimate ride feeling, but improving on the overall stability, carvability, and the smarts within the electric system. The electronic system is where most of the work has been done. The heart of the board is the ESC, and the EFOC controller we built from the ground up a few years back has been the controller for all our boards since the Hadean and the GTR 2 series releases. Now for the Diablo series, we've redesigned our EFOC ESC to become version 2.0, which is stronger with up to 200 amps capabilities and smarter with all the new firmware sets that allow for greater performance for the rider, whilst adding new internal safety features such as system monitoring, which keeps track of all the internal components and alerts the users for any potential risks. The EFOC 2.0 PCB has had a few component modifications, which essentially has opened up the pipes, and together with the firmware tweaks has increased acceleration, braking performance, and top speed. We couldn't just rely on the new ESC to achieve our performance goal for the Diablo series. We had to pair the right motor to be used in conjunction with the EFOC 2.0. So we've gone bigger. We are using a 160 kV 6374 3500 watt brushless sensor motor, which plays a big part in the driving performance behind the extra power in the Diablo series. Aesthetically, we've added vents to the outer motor housing, which helps with cooling and it protects from debris getting inside the motor. The cable management system has also been overhauled, creating a stealthy, more secure method for keeping your cables tucked up and out of the way when riding. Finally, the battery. The battery needed to be three things. Firstly, it needed to be able to retain the slim profile weight and the size of the existing Hadean boards. Secondly, it needed to offer the riders more ride time. And thirdly, the cells needed to be capable of drawing the current required for the performance we were aiming for. The Diablo is using a 12S 4P configuration, which we think is the ultimate blend of size, weight, and usability. But we upsize to the Samsung 50S cell, which offers up to about a 20% increase in ride times, and it also comes with a huge discharge rating of 188, giving the Diablo loads of power capabilities. So it's all good to have big motors and a big battery, but what is really important is that these parts are all working together as one system. So what we've done is we've built a bench test dyno machine, and this machine is really great because this allows us to simulate all types of real world riding under certain situations like hill or cruising or full launch. And this allowed us to design all our firmware sets. And we can find and fine tune any sort of problems here first. Once we're happy with it, then we take it to the real world situation and destroy the board up on hills and grass and then make sure she's all good. So we're out in the real world field testing now. We want to get some proper riding now, like real world riding. These tests are really important for us.
It's real powerful and it gets fast so quick. Like you look down, it's like, oh shit.
So what we've done is we've learned everything from the bench. We've got all our protection set, and for heat as well as overcurrent. We think they're performing well on the bench. Now we want to see how that translates to proper riding in the field on grass, and then does it make sense from a rider's perspective. And so what we're doing here today is we're just trying to fine tune how the Diablo responds under heavy load and torque. And we're just refining how much power really we should put into the system in comparison to where the existing stock Hadian's at. Not in this setting, we use custom mode on this. So we use the Explorer app and we've wound the power down just to get another sort of sense of what different levels would feel like.
It's more than that. So at that car, that was about 31 k's an hour, 35, that was 39.
So essentially what we could do is we could keep it coarser in like this, and then that's when you get into custom mode, and then it could do that. So he's doing more of a rolling start torque and sort of current feel. So now, as a Hadian customer, jump on the Hadian.
It's not even going to move compared to those two. Huge difference.
Yep, so any Hadian riders out there will, when they jump on the Diablo, it'll be very noticeable.
Yeah. Massive difference then. Like once you're actually rolling and you hit that trigger, it builds and it gets faster, but those things like hit that launch acceleration.
Yeah, okay. So you should find that the sport mode in Diablo is pretty much what Hadian is in Corsa. Given all this work has been done to the electronic system, it was only fitting that we had to roll this technology out to the Renegade series, turning it into the Renegade Diablo. The board is pretty much the same in terms of the deck and the trucks and the ride feeling. However, adding the new Diablo performance to the electronics has really turned the Renegade into a much more exciting product. More acceleration, speed, and power really spices things up. Since day one at Evolve, we've been using the double kingpin trucks to emulate the ultimate snowboard car feeling. Unlike traditional skate trucks, ours have two sets of bushings instead of the one, allowing for twice the leaning capabilities, allowing for deeper carves and super tight turns. For the past 7 years, our super carve truck has been such a good ride, and we've never really felt like we needed to improve it. But with the speed and power of the Diablo, it was time to take a look and bring out the super carve 2. We've refined the geometry of the arm, base plate and pivot cups to make for a smoother and more precise car feeling. We've paired this with extending the width of the axles by 20mm, which helps create a more stable base for the high speeds this board is actually capable of reaching. We've introduced a two-part strut, which includes a stepped axle design taken from the Renegade series to increase strength and serviceability, and given the overall aesthetics a redesign to complement the visual look of the rest of the board. The Supercarve 2 is made by using aircraft-grade aluminium billets, then it's forged under massive heat, and it's bashed into shape using a heavy press machine. Once cooled, each truck part is precision CNC'd, then they're anodized, silver for bamboo and black for carbon. They look super tough and they ride amazingly. So when it comes to the decks, we pretty much came close to perfection on the Hadian series. However, we made a few little tweaks to the Diablo series. So let's start with bamboo. What we've done is we've added another fiberglass layer as well as a layer of hardwood. So the deck is a little bit firmer underfoot now, it's a bit stronger. And we've added new grip tape. So it's a coarser, grittier grip. And what that does, it just helps with sort of control when you're riding. And on the base plate, we've got the base plates now surface mounted on top. So what it's done is it's lowered the board by about 5mm. So when it comes to the carbon, we've kept the same chassis design and it's still that beautiful forged finish. But what we've adjusted here is we're using a coarser, grittier grip tape. And this just allows for when you're riding just much more control and your feet feel firmly planted. Another big improvement we've made to the Bamboo Diablo is we've been trying to improve any kind of water ingress into the battery enclosure itself. So what we've done is we've made a new lid and we've created another inner seal. So it kind of wraps around like a boot, and you can sort of see here, as you lift it up, it sort of comes across and then down, and then the seal also does the same thing. It wraps past the bottom case itself. This really helps with any kind of water ingress when you ride. So it's clear, the Diablo is our fastest and most powerful board to date, but it's also our smartest. We've introduced a handful of features into the firmware to let you get the most from your board, understand its condition, and automatically protect yourself and the board if anything were to go wrong. Okay, let me explain. Firstly, there's overcurrent protection. This feature allows the rider to hit very large current capabilities for up to 8 seconds. If the rider goes above the system threshold for 4 seconds, the remote will give a vibrate warning to the rider, warning them the current limiter will soon be enabled at the 8-second mark. As soon as you back off the trigger, the limiter is cancelled. If you do push through the 8 seconds and activate the overcurrent mode, the power is limited to the equivalent of the coarser mode on the Hadean series until you let go of the trigger. It's a great feature and it allows for massive power, but warns and protects both the rider and system at the same time. Okay, number 2, cell balance detection. We've designed all new firmware that detects battery health of your skateboard. If ever there's any battery issues such as cell imbalance, for example, the remote will give the rider a warning there's an issue until it's been resolved. Number 3, heat protection modes. We've designed all new firmware that prevents the system from being overworked. If the system reaches super high temperatures, the remote will vibrate and drop to sport mode until the system cools down. Again, an important product feature which is aimed at protecting both the product and the rider. Of course, it carries over our previous features like inbuilt speed limiters, a deadman switch, customizable LED and lighting colors and patterns, board diagnostics, and ride tracking. On top of these smarts, the Diablo is fully compatible with the Evolve Explorer. Because this board is so powerful, the range between its upper and its lower limits is so diverse, the custom mode setting has never been more usable. You can use the app to dial in your perfect ride mode by adjusting the power output and the acceleration and brake curves. My personal favorite is to set it with the acceleration and braking similar to sport mode, but with the power output set to coarser. This allows for a super smooth cruising with an aggressive takeoff, but you have all the power there if you need it. I know I've been speaking a lot about the power and performance, but at the end of the day, I want to talk about the ride feeling. It doesn't matter about what electronics you put inside the board. At the end of the day, it's the mechanical skateboard side of things that determines the ride. Our decks, our trucks, our wheels have taken 14 years of evolution to get to this stage. And the Diablo really is our ultimate ride. The minute you start carving, you can feel every component, electronics included, is working in synergy with one another. I'm just super stoked and proud of what our team has been able to accomplish with this ride. That said, let's take a closer look how the Diablo performs.
We're out here at the test track to do some actual real-world performance tests to see how the Diablo stacks up. So we've brought out the full lineup of carbon boards. We have the GTR, the Hadean, and then of course the Diablo. The first test we're going to do is a point-to-point drag race. We're going to put all 3 boards head-to-head. Same rider, myself, I'm 90 kilograms, and we can see the difference between each of them from a standing start. One of the best parts about the Diablo is the acceleration in the mid-range and the back end of that power curve. So what we're going to do is a 15km/h rolling start where all of the boards roll up to the line at 15 k's an hour and then do a full trigger pull and see what happens. The next test is speed. Now the Diablo is a very fast board and it's got more than enough speed for everything you need to do. But there are some things you can do with wheel and gear combinations to make it go even faster. What we're going to do on this test is run through a bunch of these different wheel gear combos and see what top speeds it's actually capable of. We're going to start off with the stock all-terrain setup. That's a 7-inch tyre with 66 tooth gears, and give it a run, see what the top speed is. We're going to be using an app to track the top speed, and then I'll be checking that against a remote. We tested it out with the Hadean to make sure it's accurate and it's spot on. If you're going fast, wear protective gear. I got the armored jacket from the motorbike, and I brought my motorbike helmet as well. Starting on the all-terrain wheels, it's not too fast, expecting about 50 k's an hour, so on AT wheels that's pretty chill. But when we step it up to the straight wheels, it's going to be moving. The 7-inch all-terrain came in at 51 kilometers an hour. Pretty fast for an AT board, slightly above what we advertised. Next up, we have the 6-inch wheel. Now these are traditionally slower than the 7-inch, and they will be, but with the Diablo's extra power, we should still get some pretty good speeds. .45 kilometers an hour on 6-inch wheels. 8-inch wheels. Now we don't sell these, but it's a good way to get even more speed out of your board, and they're also really good for off-roading too. All right, that's the 8 inches ready to go. I think this thing's gonna go 54 or 55 kilometers an hour, maybe even faster, so this will be fun. Still torquey. I called it 54 kilometers per hour. That felt awesome. We're going to convert it over into street now, into our standard street setup, which is the 97mm wheel with the 38 tooth gear. Previously, our boards have come out with the 32 teeth gear in street, but we've opted for the 38 tooth because it increases your torque, your braking capability, and you're about to see that the top speed is more than enough. Let's go! So that's 50 k's an hour on the 38 tooth 97mm wheel. So that's pretty much the same as the all-terrain 7-inch 66T. So both stock setups, very much the same top end. It's been a minute since I've actually gone that fast on a urethane board, and that's the most stable I've felt. So I've never ridden urethane at that speed on those new Supercarb 2.0 trucks. So as we jump into the faster setups, that's a good sign. Let's do it. We got a brand new set of the 107mm wheels, still on the 38 tooth gears. This is going to increase our top end speed quite a bit before we swap over to those 32 tooth gears and really get that speed up there. It looks so good with these 107s. Nice and stable, top speed of 55 kilometers per hour. Time to speed things up with the 32 tooth gears, and we'll swap back to the 97mm wheels. We're now set up with the 97mm wheels and the 32 tooth gears, so this one's gonna go a little bit faster. That one was 56 kilometers per hour. Pretty fast. Let's go to the 107mm. The fastest setup for the day, I think we're gonna nudge the 60 kilometer an hour mark. Let's see how we go. Wish me luck. Woo! And there we have it, the 60 kilometer an hour mark. So the Diablo, it's a pretty fast board.
All right, so we're down here in Crumman today, and we're about to do a range test on the Bamboo Diablo. So what we're gonna do is just gonna cruise. It's just more of a free ride session. I'm gonna flick between sport and Corsa mode. It's just carefree, be a mixture of sort of footpath, bit of grass. Just wanna have fun with it. And let's just see how far this thing goes. I'm at 10 Ks and the remote is showing 82%. I'm at 50%. And we're at 28.7 Ks. I'm at 40.1 kilometers and we're at 30% left showing on the remote. Now I'm at 10% remaining and we're at 50.1 Ks. All right, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna stop there. I'm on 1% and I've just clocked 55 Ks.
Hey, I'm Andy. This morning we're gonna do a full range test on the brand new Diablo. I'm gonna be cruising around 20-25 Ks an hour. I think it's gonna be a bit of a long one, but we'll see how we go. I'll check back with you soon.
How far do you reckon you're gonna go?
I reckon I'll get close to the 100. I reckon probably mid to high 90s. 31.4 Ks. We're sitting at 71% battery. Just hit that 50K mark. 51% battery life. Look at the weather, like, where else would you rather be? Look, I've just hit that 90K mark. I've got 6% battery left. It's really going to be cutting it fine. Oh, and there we go. She just went. All right, guys, so look, didn't quite get the 100. We got 99.7 when it cut out. By the time I rolled, it was 99.8.
So what we have here is a carbon Hadian. However, we've put the Diablo internals in this and the motors. So we've dressed it up like a Hadian, but it really is a Diablo in disguise. We're taking it to a couple of group rides, and we just want to get some feedback and surprise a few people in a sneaky sort of way.
Adrenaline rush. Holy shit, that's nuts. Yeah.
Oh, you're off your head. Who built that?
Yeah.
Who built that? No, not. I just have never felt that before, man.
That's scary. Scary fast. Oh, it's so different. Oh, nowhere near the same.
That is a whole new animal. That is something different to the GTR for sure.
Yeah, man.
That's the goods, eh? That's so good.
Oh, dead man.
Holy shit, bro.
That mono away. That was intense. The takeoff is just off its head, eh? I need one.
The Diablo marks the next chapter for Evolve and re-establishes what an electric skateboard can be. We've stayed true to our ethos of a beautiful ride experience and the ultimate carve, but we've certainly cranked things up when it comes to performance. We're stoked to have a board that will thrill even the most experienced riders, and we cannot wait to see this out there under your feet.